Hello to you, Emanuel Shahaf.
Hello, hello.
What will be the headline of this monthly report?
We are continuing with the undermining of the state institutions full blast.
What do you mean by full blast?
A wide effort by the government to undermine existing state institutions.
If you would talk about the Israeli Shabak, how would you visualize this demolish of this institute?
Right now it's on the block. It's literally being undermined as we speak. First of all, by trying to get rid of the head of the Shabak, who was supposedly the Prime Minister doesn't trust, has lost his trust in him. And there are a few scandals which came up, which are also being dealt with, which are being dealt with by the Shabak, but the government is operating in order to limit the abilities of the Shabak and remove the head of the Shabak from his position.
And what about the Israeli IDF?
The IDF is similarly under attack from the government. Also, in by itself, it is weakened to an extent that we didn't have before. Different army units are infringing upon military law, are doing massacres in some cases, which are not being investigated. There's protests against the government from within certain army units, not serving units, but reservist units. But there's a general malaise that the army is not one anymore.
And what do you mean by that?
It's split into factions. It's split into factions. There are units which have a more religious attitude. There are units which are more violent. So the army doesn't exert its power to keep people disciplined, and in general, we don't know what's going on. This is one of the problems. Okay, it's not clear anymore that the commanding officers are in charge.
So who is in charge?
Whoever is in the field, the local factions, the local commanders, they are in charge.
What is happening in the southern part of Gaza right now, especially with the investigation of the UN aid that were killed?
The convoy, yeah. We don't know what's happening. This is one of the problems. Okay, the army doesn't permit news coverage of the Gaza Strip, and whatever comes out comes usually by delay and through other sources. Actually, I think the situation is that the government doesn't really want to know, because it's much easier to do things when people don't know about it.
So, what do you think is going to be happening if it doesn't already happen within the state of Israel, with this clash in between the units, the forces, the IDF, the Shabak, and the government?
Will become an authoritarian state. Okay, what will happen is that the government will reassert its power over the different state institutions and install people who are to their liking, to the government's liking, and that'll straighten out the state institutions to the government's satisfaction.
And what about the people? People here are used to live in a full democracy for so many years.
They'll learn how to live in an authoritarian regime. And everyday life is not going to make much of a difference, but it'll start becoming problematic when they send their children to the army, and during the field security research, questions are asked to, do your parents go to demonstrations? What party do they vote for? And all things like that. inquisitive questions. Then they start thinking, hey, what happened here? And you'll see less and less people going to demonstrations because they realize that they may get in trouble for it, and people stop writing hard-hitting op-eds because they're afraid they're getting in trouble with it. So this is a slow deterioration, and then all of a sudden we wake up and find out that the next elections have been postponed.
Do you think it's visible? It's something that
feasible. Absolutely, absolutely.
It's going to be seen by the people, or someone is going to postpone the election?
Even if they don't postpone the elections, they can change it, can prevent some parties from participating. For example, the Arab parties. Okay, it's very easy to change the system so the Arab parties, under some pretense, will be prevented from participating in the elections. And if that happens, it basically almost guarantees for the right wing to win the next election. So they don't have to cancel the elections. They can just fine-tune the participants, and then they get what they want.
Iran is seeing what is happening in Israel. It's an interview that it's taken from the 6th of October 23, and they're saying to themselves,
they're looking at it, and I think they're probably surprised what's happening here, but it's good for them. You know, that Israel is in a constant situation of breaking up and struggles in the civil society. Like they have demonstrations, we have demonstrations, but they are already an authoritarian regime, and we're just getting there.
And the United States, that is basically embracing Iran, meeting with them, talking with them directly.
That's the only way to deal with Iran, is in negotiations. The thought of attacking Iran over the nuclear program is really not feasible, not reasonable. Even for the United States.
Even for the United States.
It requires. It's a huge country where the nuclear facilities are widely dispersed and well protected. So I'm not saying it's not possible to attack them and cause major damage, but all it'll make reinforce the Iranians' will to protect themselves more and develop nuclear weapons.
And Trump already said that he's not aiming for another war.
Yeah, he doesn't want to start a war, and I don't know whether it's a good idea to go into negotiations like that, but that's what's happening, and we're definitely not going to overrule the United States on that. So we just hope that it'll be a reasonable agreement.
So there is a combination of the United States giving a legitimacy to Iran and also to Ben-Gvir, that is officially invited to visit there.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything goes. This administration is willing to deal with the worst, both the Iranians and Ben-Gvir.
You know, maybe it's good news, because the old regimes, the old understanding of what is a state, maybe it doesn't work anymore, and the total collapse is an opportunity to build something new.
Yeah, well, that if we look at what happened in the United States, it doesn't look too promising. Okay, and I don't think that what's happening in Israel doesn't look promising either. So I'm not saying this is something that couldn't happen, but it doesn't look from the makeup of the government we have and the plans that the government have, it doesn't look like this is going to be a positive development.
Yet maybe this is going to be the ground that the federation movement that you're leading, and the new book is something that is going to be easier to understand because of the total collapse worldwide.
I hope it'll facilitate the introduction of new ideas. I'm not sure, but we're going to do our best to make it happen.
And part of doing the best to make it happen would be
publishing the book.
And talking about the good news about publishing the book, what would it be?
The good news is that it's going to be finished towards the summer, at least in the English version, and then the other languages will come online soon after that. So that's a very positive development.
What is the main topic of the new book? Part of it is the fact that you're writing it together with a Palestinian partner.
Yes. Well, the main topic is the federation as an alternative to resolve the conflict with the Palestinians.
One-state solution.
It's a one-state solution. Yes. Actually, it's a hybrid because Gaza is a separate Palestinian entity. But other than that, it's a one-state between the Mediterranean and the Jordan River.
People that want to be part of the mutual movement.
Federation movement on Facebook, Emanuel Shahaf on Facebook, or Identity: The Quest for Israel's Future.
And that book is written basically half by half. Emanuel Shahaf and Tayseer Abu-Sal, which is your Palestinian partner. You know, we've been talking a lot, and one of the main issues are the Israelis that are still in Gaza.
Yep.
What are the chances that you think that they are all going to be released?
With this government, they're not very high, because this government has a vested interest in keeping the war going, and Hamas is insisting on stopping the war as a precondition to release all the hostages. So unless the United States or the Israeli public exert enough pressure on this government, I'm afraid they won't be released for quite a while, if at all.
If at all.
If at all.
Emanuel Shahaf, I want to thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Pesach Sameach, even though.
Pesach Sameach, yes.